Hello guys, welcome back into another video on the FPTC Rugby channel. And for European special, another European person from Wales is Brandon Smith Rugby. How are you doing, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you for having me on. It's so good to have European rugby back once again, isn't it? So I'm very much looking forward to getting into this preview.
Yeah, it's very lucky to have it on, especially with the current climate in this world, and very watch some great rugby. So the first game, your friend Ben's team, Cardiff Blues versus London Irish. I know he's very passionate about them. I will show both teams. So looking at this, oh damn it! God, it's clicked away. This is. I'll edit this out. Okay. We'll just. I'll just leave it. Okay. What's okay? Looking, I'll read you the teams out now. 1 Goodwick Clark, 2 Greavy, 3 Trummy, 4 Knott, 5 Simmons, 6 Robinson, 7 Cowan, 8 Tweezy, 9 Phipps, 10 Jackson, 12 Brucluse, 13 Rona, 14 Loader, 15 Part, 11 Oscar Allen, 16 Corners, 7 Genju, 18 Hoskins, 19 Munga, 20 Dunham, 21 Brian, 22 Min, 23 Hatamina. And then I'll read you the Cardiff team. The Cardiff team is 15 Morgan, 11 Amor, 14 Avon, 12 Ahoda, 13 Lilo, 10 Evans, 9 Willens, 1 Domilewski, 2 Dacey, 3 Lewis, 4 Hill, 5 Davies, and 6 Navidi, 7 both and 8 Turnbull. And then on the bench, got 16 Birchie Senkin, 18 or 19 Fulton, 20 Robinson, 21 William, 22 Thomason, 23 Harris. What's your opinions on their team? The team.
Very good teams, both of them. I think obviously for London Irish, the person to watch out for is Paddy Jackson, who's been brilliant this year. Both teams have gone very, very strong, which you'd expect, because for both teams, it's not an awful draw for either side. I think, from a Welsh perspective on the Blues, it's a very, very strong team. Halaholo comes back in after playing for Wales. Josh Adams comes back in. Hallam Amos. Thomas Williams starts, which is massive. Navidi is back in. Corey Hill and James Bottoms, all of them were away with Wales and they're back in. So they're massive for the Blues. I think they're very two strong sides and they'll both look to play some exciting rugby.
I think they're both very good. I think this is probably in the Challenge Cup. This is one of the big couple of fixtures, and I think both teams like to play rugby, and that's what they'll like to do. But it's the best for them. It's the best form of defence. It's attack, and that's what they're planning to do. Because we'll move on to the next game. What's your score prediction for this game?
Oh, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm going to back London Irish to do the job by 5 points. I'll say 30 points to 25 to London Irish. I think it's going to be a great game. They're very open.
Could be interesting because you change your prediction from your video.
Yeah, I want to back the Blues, but thinking about it, I don't know. I'm going to stick with the Blues. Yeah, the Blues to win, I think.
I think it's very close, but I think it will. If Paddy Jackson gets it going in the fourth, if they can get going, Irish, they can win. I think that's my general feeling. We'll move on to game at 12:30. Wasp versus Clermont. Teams not out, but I think Wasp. There is a big favourite, and I don't see any other result. But I think Wasp are not playing the best. Their squad isn't good enough. But the Clermont not just Clermont. They do so well in the Everett, leading up to the final, and they just can't pull it off in the final with Lopez and all sorts of players, Beef and all. I think it'll be a good game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. I think we'll see some good rugby in this one. Wasps are, as you already said, are not going to be favourites for this one. You would definitely back Clermont to win this one. As you said, it was right as well. Clermont, they always seem to get to the final of thereabouts, but they just can never quite get the job done, can they? So they'll be wanting to do that, won't they? But I was just looking at some stats before head-to-head, 1 win apiece between them. The last game, they haven't played since 2007. So there's no recent really history between them. Clermont obviously are in 4th in the top 14, so they're challenging up there. So for me, yeah, Clermont to win this one pretty comfortably, I think.
I do think Clermont, they just have the third, but I don't think they'll win it again. I don't think they'll win they're brought a little bit. But I just feel Wasp are not playing well at all. They don't look as good as they did. They haven't got them. I think they got to the final last year because of that coach bounce, and I don't think they're nowhere near to look good. But we'll move on. I think Clermont by 25. I think they're going to thrash them. I just see that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it being that big. I see maybe 50 points.
Bristol. I'm just thinking generally. Bristol. They beat Bristol by 15. Imagine Bristol had a full-fledged team out. Imagine what it's going to be like for Wasps, and Bristol were at home. But now we're going to move on to this week. Your team, Ospreys versus Newcastle. Both teams are very forward-based teams. I don't think we're going to see a high-scoring game. What's your opinion? I know you had a great win against Leinster the other week. What's your opinion? How do you think you'll fare in this game?
Yeah, I think we've been given a fairly good draw in the competition. There were some big teams that we could have faced along the way. Newcastle will certainly, we don't want to underestimate them. And as you said, it's going to be very much a forward game. I haven't heard anything on Stephen Myler. And I think that's massive in this game. If Stephen Myler is back and he's fit, he has to start. And it'll be interesting to see what Wales internationals come back in. Will Alan Wynne come back in? Will Justin Tipuritt come back? I think, though, that win against Leinster to secure Champions Cup rugby for next season will have given a massive confidence to the young players, because there's a very young squad that went out there and did the job at the RDS. I'm fairly confident going into this one, and being at home as well, I think will make a difference for us. So I would back us to win this one, to be honest.
I do think, especially, but watching Newcastle last week, they were so. You could see, but the same engine, you could see a massive reaction this week. Because they were so poor last week against Leicester. But they're really good. It was the tale of two halves. Nothing. Leicester were really bad in the second half. Newcastle were really bad in that game. But I just feel Ospreys are going to come. It'll be a dogged game. It'll be dogged. They'll just be a forward-based game. If they get their set piece, both teams had good set pieces. But if they can get, this is the crucial thing with Newcastle. If they can keep their penalty count low, I think it'll be much closer. But if they keep it up, but mention about Stephen Myler, if there hasn't been said anything, he might not be available. That's another thing you could think of. He might not be available if they haven't said anything at the same angle. But who knows? We'll find out tomorrow at 12 o'clock. But I just feel Ospreys by 10 or about 10. Yeah,
I'd agree. I think Ospreys by about 10. I think we need to play sensibly. We need to take our points again, as you said. It's going to be very much a forward-dominated game. There's not going to be much flow in rugby, but yeah, I'd back Ospreys to win this one.
We're moving on at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Munster versus Toulouse. In my opinion, the biggest game of the weekend. The big title-held many European trophies won. The flashy stuff of Toulouse, Dupont, Entomac, and then you got the gritty tough of Munster.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to this one. As you said, Toulouse are going to look to throw the ball about. You've got Dupont, Cheslin Colby, Entomac, who will look to throw the ball about. And then you've got CJ Standard, Damien Diolande for Munster, big, powerful ball carriers. Again, I was looking at some stats in this one, and actually Munster have had the best results in this fixture. Last time they played was back in 2017. They actually thrashed Toulouse, 41-16. And they also have won 4 of the 6 games that they've faced in this one. And both teams have had a really good season. Toulouse are top 14. And Munster were runners-up in the Pro 14 final, although they didn't really turn up in that. I think it's going to be a great game. In my prediction video that I did on my channel, I did back Toulouse to get the job done. I think they've got that flair and a little bit more excitement about them, because I think the game will be very close, but I think it'll open up later on in the game. And I think Toulouse have a little bit more to offer going forward.
I think Toulouse will win, but I think if it was on a Friday night down in Munster or Ireland, I think it would have been much tougher for Toulouse. I do think they've got the right fixture time around that 3 o'clock when it's on whole nicer weather, and I do think just doing Dupont, you got Dupont come in, Entomac, and Chels and Colby the other week were playing 10. You wouldn't. A winger playing 10, he can step someone in the phone box. I just don't see it. They'll physically and Blues have a big pack. That makes it'll be such a tussle. But I just feel by 10 points Toulouse coming through this game.
Oh, I wouldn't put it that much. I think 3-5. I think it'll be really close.
I just feel a late try. I think it'll be very close between the whole game. They'll just get a late try at the end.
Okay, cool.
Now we're moving at 5:30. English team versus French team. It's ex-Chiefs versus Lyon. Chiefs are fully rested all their players last weekend, even though some people didn't realise that they rested the players. But they've got loads of players coming. International, Scotland international, loads been. They're going to go full out for this game. And Lyon have got some injuries. Unfortunately, not to see former Leicester Jordan Talfer playing for Lyon this weekend. I was hoping to watch him. But I think they're both in. Lyon are in form in the top 14. Who do you think? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
I can only really see one winner in this one. I can only see Exeter winning this one. As you said, Exeter rested players last week. They are second in the Premiership, while Lyon are sixth in the Premiership. I just think Exeter will have too much for them. I think if Exeter especially win the forward battle, which I'd expect them to do, then I don't see Lyon having all that much to offer after that, because they're a very physical side. So I'd back Exeter to win this one very comfortably. They've never played each other before, so there's nothing like mental hanging over either side. So yeah, I'd back Exeter to win this by 10 plus points, maybe even 15 plus.
And this is another thing. French teams don't travel well. I know Toulouse now start to travel and Clermont travel well, but the teams like Lyon previously have not travelled well. La Rochelle don't always travel well. They don't always travel well to these games, and I think that could be a benefiting factor. And I think it's dogged, especially with their pitch at the moment. It's very dogged. It'll be very hard. It's interesting if Leinster win. I think that's not a hard play, because it's a very hard place to go down there, even though and their pitch is not great. And I don't think Leinster will like that. But I just see Chiefs as still Sam Simmons, Joe Simmons, Slade, Hogg, all come back. Gray, all come back into their team this weekend. And I think it's got to be a massive confidence boot. And we know how good they are. They're not the European champions for their sake. They're not going to be no pushover here, are they? But I do think Chiefs by 10.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chiefs to win pretty comfortably.
And we're going to go now 8 o'clock. I think this is the second best Challenge Cup game of the weekend. It's Leicester versus Connacht. I think it's going to be a fantastic. Two different styles. One's the runner, the Bristol Bears, the runner one. They want to play. They want to do all stuff. By Leicester, you've got a physical, dogged pack of Ospreys type team, and I think it's so crucial. The way they forward pack want to drive and play. Now, what do you think?
I think it's a really interesting one, because Connacht are a very good side. I've watched quite a bit of them this year in the Pro 14, and they are very much the nearly men. They play some really nice rugby. They push teams really close, but they just can't win the big matches. They lost against Munster in pretty much a semi-final, as you'd call it. They lost that one 17 points to 20, where they were probably the better team. They lost against Ospreys, where they were certainly the better team, and we nicked it in the end. So they're kind of the nearly men, but I think if Leicester can slow the ball down, and if they can make it a scrappy game, if they can make it where it's all about the forward, go to the corner, the driving maul, take points, George Ford controls the game from 10, then I see Leicester winning comfortably. But if the game opens up, then Connacht definitely have a shout. I think Jack Carty at 10 is a brilliant 10 and should probably be in the Ireland squad. So it could be quite an open game, but I think Leicester will control the game pretty well. So I would back Leicester to get the job done. And also, being at Welford Road, as I said on my preview, there is something about Welford Road. Even if there'll be no fans there, it's still Welford Road. There's still something about it.
I do think, and people have got to take into consideration, Welford Road pitch tiny compared to most grounds. It's very, very hard on the basis. We were quite poor last week defensively, in my opinion. But last week, it's very hard to play rugby. Bristol found it very hard. You've got to be quite smart, because it's not the biggest pitch. You can't outpace someone. You got to kick tactically and got to play in the right areas, and that's the most important thing for Connacht. Bristol found that out that way last year. They thought they could run it for all over because it was Leicester. But I think if they start Jasper Weezer, they might probably will win, because he is a man. He every time he carries, when he hits contact, he makes about 3 or 4 meters. He brings a very hard man to stop, and people will realise how big he is and how tough he is to stop. Fortunately, we're missing players. We're missing quite a few players, and I'm feeling there's talking about obviously George Ford. I can see him being rested this weekend because the European. I know it's a European quarter-final, but that's not a priority this year. We are not. If it came to it, we would not priority Europe. We want to do well in the Premiership, and that's what the fans want. They want to do well. But I see Ben Young coming in to play scrum half with George Ford's rested this weekend. I just feel that's going to happen.
Yeah, I still think that Leicester will win. And I think it is going to be a great tie, but I do think Leicester will get the job done. I think it'll be close. I'm going to say 5 to 7 points for Leicester to win this one by.
Yeah, hopefully our predictions get right, and it'll be a Leicester Ospreys quarter-final at Welford Road. Next game we're going to do is Bordeaux versus Bristol at Bordeaux. The last year's semi-final went your Challenge Cup semi-final. The Challenge Cup holders in Bristol, and this went to extra time. It's going to be flair. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Bristol? Do you think Bordeaux are going to win this?
I think it's going to be a great game, as you just said. Obviously, you just mentioned the semi-finals. Bristol won that one 37 points to 20 last year in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. Bristol obviously went on to win that, so they'll be looking to go on and do much better in the Champions Cup. As you said, Bristol, top of the Premiership, absolutely flying. Semi Wadrada's back fit, played last weekend and will definitely be starting. Bordeaux are 5th in the top 14. The big thing for Bordeaux is they're without Jalibert. Jalibert's out. He got injured against Wales, it was. So he's out. He's not going to be playing, so that's massive for Bordeaux. He's been so good in the Six Nations for France. I do think Bristol will get the job done, but I think it's going to be a really entertaining game. I don't think any team will hold back. They'll just both go for it. And if the weather's good in Bordeaux, we could see some absolutely beautiful rugby.
I know. This is what I saw last year. Unfortunately, Ben Bottika's nowhere near the standard of Jalibert, but I saw this at Saint, and I saw this when because he got an injury then. He got a slight nickel. He came off. And I saw this against Bristol Island. He had, not Bristol, I can't remember where it was, but they don't look anywhere the side they do without Jalibert in it. He's so crucial to like Sheedy with Bristol. They're nowhere near as good. He doesn't have the control, the tempo, the forwards. I think it's so crucial they're missing Jalibert. In fact, for Bristol's sake, because I just don't see any other. And Semi looked good. He was only apparently 70% fit, 60% fit, and still looked fantastic. But I would watch out for this Bristol team. I know they lost to Clermont, but watch out. They are a dark horse in this competition, I feel. They've improved a lot since, was it December? Since then. So Bristol would be my dark horse for the Championship. But I do think Bristol will come out 10 to 7 points.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bristol will win, but I think it could be one of the games of the round for sure.
Yeah, and we're going to move on to now the last game of the weekend at 8 o'clock. It's going to be the knowledge is the big Challenge Cup game. It's Quins versus Ulster. Apparently, Quins are going to rest their big stars. Smith, Dombrandt, Eustachian apparently are going to be rested. And obviously, Coetzee is out and Addison's out for Ulster. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this game, again, is going to be very free-flowing. I think both teams are going to look to play in this one. I didn't know about the players being rested for Quins, which probably would have changed my predictions a little bit more, though. I think I did back Ulster to win. Yeah, I did. Ulster, this is really their only hope this season. Of course, the Pro 14 is done and dusted, with Leinster winning that. Ulster, of course, finished second in Conference A, so they had a good season. Yeah, I didn't know about those Harlequins players, so I think Ulster might win this a little bit more comfortably, but I do think it'll be attacking, and I think we'll see some good rugby.
Yeah, they wanted to focus on the Premiership more often because obviously they want to finish in top 4, and they don't want Smith and Dombrandt to be rested. The Quins fans aren't happy about this. They've been rested, but I would back Quins if Smith, Dombrandt, Eustachian and players weren't rested. But as they are, I back Ulster now. I just think the quality. I think they would have won if they had their big key players there. But obviously, I'm going to change over to back Ulster. Never know. This could be. It's rumoured, very likely to happen. They post poachers on Instagram and Twitter about no, they normally post about Don Brent Smith and all of them. There's no photos of them playing at all. It might be a curveball, but I don't see Ulster by probably about 15.
Yeah, well, with those players rested, I do think we'll see something like that. It's unfortunate that that's the case because the Challenge Cup, there's a couple of teams in there who would fancy their chances this year. Harlequins would have been one of them sides, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and that is the main key fixtures to watch out for this weekend, guys. I hope you like it, and we'll be back for another video later.